think it's a reasonable precaution to take. We know that there's been melting fuel rods. We do not know if it has gotten to the point where it has melted through the containment building floor. That is a full meltdown, what used to be called the China syndrome. That kind of thing will, of course, cause an enormous release of radiation. In essence, we'd be facing another Chernobyl. 3 of my degrees are in nuclear engineering, and I've been studying this thing. And, the Japanese, like any government, will cover up things if they think it's in their best interest to do so. But, so far, the full meltdown hasn't happened, and they dodged the bullet. But if it does happen, there is going to be a significant radiation cloud coming across to the mainland United States.
And doctor, there could probably be nobody else with more knowledge on this that we could get on than you. Have you seen Fukushima 3 blow?
I've seen some of it. I haven't seen it all, and I'm sure we'll see more. But that does not mean that there was a nuclear explosion. It still could have been an explosion of the gases in the containment building, and but of course if the containment building itself is gone, then you've got a serious problem, because the melting fuel rods, that radiation is going to escape. I don't know whether we're looking at full meltdown now. There's no question we're looking at the release of radiation, and that's why they're getting the Ronald Reagan out of there as fast as they can to not be right downwind of it.
Yeah, that's not a give. The MOX fuel reactor, of course, you're familiar with the Mark I General Electric system.
Yep.
According to my research, this is about the worst type of plant to go up, and they're reporting it'll make Chernobyl, that had 400 times the Hiroshima radiation, according to the Atomic Energy Agency, released. If the MOX I plutonium-driven system has melted down, sir, fully, what are we looking at in terms of fallout?
Well, you're looking at probably several Chernobyls, and that, of course, will be disastrous. Fortunately, an awful lot of that will come down in the Pacific Ocean, which isn't good for the Pacific Ocean, but it's better than if it was blowing the other way and come down in China or Korea and all of that. So it's a nasty situation indeed. And by the way, we have a number of those kind of reactors here in the United States, including, I think, Vermont Yankee, that the state of Vermont wants to shut down, and the federal government won't let them.
Yeah, there's 23 Mark I's. Yes, sir, you're right.
Yeah.
Dutch side of the Fukushima 6 reactor system, watching these 2 devastating explosions in the last 48 hours, just as a layman, wouldn't that hamper the emergency crews that the U.S. government has said is a desperation move, pumping seawater into the other 4 reactors that have not had explosions?
Well, it could. It depends on where they have to be physically located in order to pump that seawater in. If they're to the west of the buildings, then yeah, that could indeed be a problem. We're fortunate that 3 of the 6 were shut down for maintenance when the earthquake hit.
And so they wouldn't be able to melt down then?
No.
Let me expand on that, sir, because I don't know. I believe
there's still nuclear material in there that ordinary explosions and whatnot from the others, could release. But those 3 melting down would only happen if the plant was in operation.
Well, that's wonderful news. Sir, looking at, and again, you've probably only, from what you say, seen Fukushima 1 blow up on Saturday. This was roughly 10 times the size and the height, and it was an instant mushroom cloud, now smoking, black smoke pouring out. It looks like a war zone on the news. But let us just ask you, what are the different scenarios for a total meltdown, and what would the explosion from a total meltdown look like? Because we're watching a giant black-brown mushroom cloud shooting 3,000 to 4,000 feet in the air in 3 seconds.
Well, the mushroom cloud and the meltdown don't necessarily have anything to do with one another.
Yes.
If a total meltdown happens, you might not see anything from the exterior. What it would mean would be that the molten nuclear material would go down through the floor of the containment building, and the radiation would escape into the environment, and but it would be, for the most part, invisible. The mushroom cloud is bad news because it could mean that we've lost containment, and then the melting fuel rods present, a real problem, the release of their radiation. But the release of radiation will probably come significantly after the mushroom cloud event.
Is that while it cooks in the seawater and other chemicals and things that are in there?
Yeah, now if they get enough seawater in there, it may halt the meltdown process with or without containment. But if they can't do that for one reason or another, and those rods are exposed, then it'll continue to melt down.
And, sir, if it continues to melt down, what are the different scenarios?
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking of is a complete meltdown where all the fuel rods melt completely and there's no containment. And that's when you're going to get the possibility of a multiple Chernobyl radiation release. The explosion that took place there, if it was outside the containment vessel and in the building, would probably have been a pretty uniform explosion, putting pressure on all sides of the containment vessel simultaneously. And therefore, there's a good chance that even a powerful explosion like that did not rupture the containment vessel.